If you're over 60 and thinking about filing for Social Security at age 62, don't do it yet. Not because 62 is wrong. For some people, it's exactly right. But there are 5 things you need to check first, and almost nobody does them. Step 3 alone could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Most people find out after they've already filed, and then it's too late. As a former hospital CEO for 20 years, I've seen these same mistakes happen over and over again with people retiring. Not because they were careless, because nobody walked them through this checklist first. In the next 7 minutes, I'm going to do that just for you. Okay, so your must-do number 1, first you need to go to ssa.gov and you need to create your Social Security account if you haven't done so, and that's right here. And if you click on that, you can see how you can go to create an account right here. So it's totally free. It takes like 10 minutes. And why this matters is because you really need to see your earnings. So your Social Security benefit is calculated on your 35 highest earning years. So any gaps, years that you didn't work or you work part-time, and those could be really low or count as 0. So you want to make sure that these are correct. So once you create your account, then you can go into your earnings record and you can look at every single year. So you want to make sure that your employer reported your income correctly, because this is going to directly impact the amount of Social Security you get. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at your estimated benefit, whether it's at 62, 67, or at 70 years old. And you want to write these numbers down because you're going to need them. Now we're going to move on to your must-do number 2. So this is really important to understand that if you take your Social Security early, you're going to have a permanent reduction of your monthly payment for the rest of your life. So like looking at this sheet, if this is an example only, your numbers are going to be very specific to you. But say, for example, that your full benefit at age 67, and most of us, our full benefit is at age 67, is $2,000. If you take it early at 62, they're going to reduce it by about 30%. And this number is going to be your monthly payment for the rest of your life. So that's, in this example, that's about $600 less every month, and it never goes back up. And so over a certain number of years, that's going to be less money depending on how long you live. So that we'll talk about that later, because that's very important, the break-even point. But it's very important to understand that the benefit, if you take it early, is going to be reduced for the rest of your life. Okay, now you got your account set up. You know your real numbers. That's further than most people get, so congratulations on that. But here's where it gets critical. Number 3 is the one that surprises almost everyone who is still working. And number 4, the break-even calculation, is the one that actually tells you whether waiting is worth it or not for you specifically. So stay with me as we go through the rest of these very important must-dos. Okay, must-do number 3, you need to know your earnings test. So what this means is if you're still working and you decide to take your Social Security early at age 62, then your check from Social Security may not be what you think it's going to be. So, and this rule catches people off guard because they look at their amount that they think they're going to get, and then they're working, and then they get less per month. So, for example, say your income is $36,000 per year. So you're over the limit of $24,480. So everything over $24,480, for every $2 you earn over this limit, Social Security is going to withhold $1 in benefits per month. So if you're making $36,000, and that would put you at $11,520 over the limit. So they would hold $5,760 over the course of the year. So your monthly payment would be less. And this is the part that most people really don't understand, is the money's not gone. So when you turn 67, like we talked about, if you take your Social Security at age 62, you're getting 30% less. So you're getting 70% of the full amount. Say, for example, they withhold $30,000 over 5 years. When you turn 67, you're going to get that 70%, plus they're going to up your percentage to basically pay you back for the money they withheld. So how this really impacts you is that from age 62 to age 67, if you're still working, your monthly benefit is going to be less. But then when you turn 67, they're gonna catch up with it. So you really have to figure out like how much money do you actually need if you're still working, and it may make sense to take it at 62, but it may make sense to wait until you're 67 as well. Okay, must do number 4, and this is really important. And this is something that I actually was thinking about because I'm eligible for Social Security in 4 years to take it early at age 62. So I ran my own break even trying to figure this out, but I'm just going to walk you through this if you haven't seen it. You may be aware of this, but a lot of people aren't. So if you decide to take your benefit at 62, you're getting basically 5 more years of monthly payments, but it's going to be 30% less. So for example, I'll just do this step by step. So say your benefit at 62, we'll use the same example, is $2,000, but you decide to take it at 62, so $1,400. So the monthly difference is $600 less than your full benefit. So how you calculate the break even is you basically, so this red line is your money as you earn it, but it's $600 less. But if you wait till you're 67, you're going to be getting $600 more per month. So you're going to have a spot where that's going to equal 0. And then after that, waiting makes more sense because now you're making $600 more per month. When if you took it early, you're making $600 less per month, if that makes sense. So basically what you want to do is you want to consider waiting. If you're in good health and if your family history suggests like longevity past the age of break even, and it's going to be a little different for everybody based on your actual numbers, but you may want to consider claiming at 62 if you have health concerns or if you have a family history of shorter life expectancy, or if you need the money. So this is a very individual type of decision, and it's based on a lot of factors, but don't forget to do the break even. For me, I did it, and I think it's at age 83. And, my personal thoughts is I'll probably take it at 62 just because I travel now, and I would rather have more money now when I'm healthy and I'm able to do things, because at age 83, I'm hoping, I'm still alive and everything, but I probably won't be able be as mobile or be able to travel as much. So having the money now is more important for me, but everybody has a different situation in life. But you have to calculate this break even because that's important. So must do number 5. So this is a decision if you're married that you need to check with your spouse, because this one is kind of complicated. And, your Social Security decision doesn't just affect you, it affects your spouse, and it affects potentially for decades if you pass away. So your spouse's survivor benefit is based on your benefit. If you claim early and lock in a lower amount and something happens to you, then your spouse inherits that lower amount. And this is especially important if your spouse has lower lifetime earnings. So when one spouse passes, the surviving spouse typically steps up to the higher earner's benefit. So if you had a reduced benefit that you took at 62, the spousal benefit would be reduced as well. And this is something that you really want to research on Social Security, because it also impacts if you're divorced and then you remarry. They have very specific rules about that, where if you don't do it correctly, you can actually lose all spousal benefits. So that's something that you want to look into depending on your own situation. So there they are, 5 steps most people skip completely. And now you know all of them. If this has helped you think more clearly about the situation, please subscribe or share it with somebody you know. Because next week I'm going to continue the Social Security series, and I'm going to be talking about how you address the gap between taking Social Security early and getting Medicare coverage. I'm Daniel Perryman, and I'll see you in the next one.